Are we live? Hey guys, I'm stuck. Sorry, I'm adjusting. That's a great angle. Very, very flattered. I think that's better. Cool. All right, hello. Let's see who joins. Hi, thank you for joining, you all. I just started, so I just got on, so we'll get started in just a second. How are you all? Thank you for joining. Hello. Hi. Oh, yes, I know. I haven't been doing them as much lately. I'm going to be doing a lot more. So I'm excited. Yay, we have some people here. Happy Monday. I figured we would just chat. Let's see. We're still waiting on Arizona. Hi, Mandy. I remember Mandy. I'm so glad you're here. Yay. My hair looks crazy. I'm sorry. I don't know why that's happening, so I apologize. We'll get through this together. I don't know why. I always have these things that just stick right out. So there's that. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. I'm glad to see you. All right. So can you hear me actually? Oh gosh, Carrie Lake. I was just looking at this. Yeah, this is insane what's happening in Maricopa County. Here, I'm going to bring up an update so we can read exactly what's happening right now. I scroll, like while I'm talking to you guys, I'm scrolling on my Twitter. So Carrie just said, I follow Carrie on Twitter. Just in case you might not be aware, Carrie Lake and Katie Hobbs are basically neck and neck for governor of Arizona. They're still counting. I think it's just Maricopa County. Me too. Thanks. I think it's just Maricopa County. It might be a few other ones, but they were taking forever to count these ballots. Carrie was actually ahead, and her campaign had been saying that given the mathematics of everything, all these votes coming in, this is a Carrie Lake area, so she should have had the majority of these votes. But right now you have Katie Hobbs who is coming out ahead. So of course, you have a lot of people saying, wait a second, we know this game. How is it that it's still taking this long to count all of these votes? And Carrie Lake has been ahead the entire time. It's making people really suspicious, and it does. They do all these things. It looks suspicious. We don't like it. This is what Carrie Lake just said. She said, "Attention, your vote may not have been counted. You can check the status of your ballot at carrielake.com/cure." So I don't know if anyone is in Maricopa County, but or Arizona. I think this is probably all of Arizona. Maybe share this with every single person you know. Let's finish strong. This is crazy that it's taking this. This shouldn't happen. It should not happen. Looking for updates on Carrie. So here's Carrie. I'll play you.
For having me, Maria. Well, we're on our 5th day, Carrie. We want to know what's going on. Can you explain
5 days.
why we still don't know the answers in Arizona in the gubernatorial race? Well, we have election season here. We start voting about a month before Election Day, and we keep counting after Election Day forever. And we're in the process of still counting the votes. And there are about 300,000 ballots that have not been counted. This is according to the county recorder, many of them in Maricopa County, and they are from very heavy Republican areas. So we're waiting for the vote to be counted. I consider someone's vote their voice. I think of it as a sacred vote, and it's being trampled the way we run our elections in Arizona. I've been sounding the alarm for 2 years. Nothing got done. Very little got done last legislative session, and we need to get in there and restore faith in our elections. We can't be the laughing stock of elections anymore here in Arizona, and when I'm governor, I will not allow it. I just won't. Well, that's right. And I want to get your take on why it is that when we saw that there was a problem early on, that the people running the election didn't just say to people, okay, look, it's broken, it's not working, just fill this ballot out. We're going to do this right now. I mean, what do? You tell people, oh, sorry, this is not working, go to another place, drive here, drive there. Of course, people are going to say, forget it, I'm done.
Yeah.
They keep driving. Well, I mean, we knew when election day was. We've known it for years. It's pretty much set in stone. It's like showing up.
Yeah, it just, I mean, it makes no sense. And I moving forward will not be taking any Republican seriously that doesn't take this election stuff seriously and doesn't fix things. Florida got it right. Florida got it right after their hurricane. Have you even heard about the hurricane? Because they did such a good job with that. They literally just had a hurricane that devastated many parts of Florida, and they were able to conduct a tight, quick, solid election. How is that? There's no excuse. No excuse at all. And especially what really bothers me is after all of the questions on 2020, you would think this would be everybody's number one priority. How can we make sure that our elections are secure? And to be honest with you, I was probably a bit naive because I was like, of course they're going to take care of this. Of course this is going to go smoother this time. I can't accept a loss. Something doesn't feel right. Florida is the gold standard. Florida is the gold standard. You want to know what's crazy too? I will say this. I know you're all going to think I'm crazy. I get it. But I look at gains and places too. And something that you should know about, I'm going back to Florida in just a second, but Gavin Newsom won the governor's race in California. Again, a lot of areas in California are super liberal. A lot of people that were very liberal got elected, which I wasn't happy about. But if you look at the numbers, if you look at how close the race was between the Republican and Gavin Newsom won the state of California at a much smaller margin than Ron DeSantis won in Florida, if you adjust obviously for the appropriate population. And the Republican governor that was running against Gavin Newsom got more votes than any governor since 2006, I believe. It's something about that. So that margin, the Republican voters in the state of California, between the Republican and that's getting smaller. And we saw the same exact thing happen in New York, which again is almost unprecedented. So a lot of people are really disappointed about Kathy Hochul winning the governor in New York. I am too. I was really hoping Zeldin would win it. But again, if you look at his numbers, and I really like his attitude, he has a great attitude. He said, this gives me hope. This was basically someone who came out of nowhere and ran on a Republican ticket. And that race was a lot closer than it should have been, given how deeply blue the state of New York is. So those numbers actually give me a lot of hope. That shows me that people are waking up. I know that we wanted it to happen a lot quicker, and it should have happened a lot quicker. But when you think about what we're up against, like these numbers, I know they're not the wins that we wanted in these areas, but they give me a lot of hope. And this is really interesting too. We're going back to Florida, right? So speaking of California, the Hoover Institute just released a 50-page report. The state of California lost 153 business headquarters in the year 2021, which is more than double their numbers the 3 years preceding that. For instance, in 2020, they lost 75. In 2019, they lost 78. In 2018, they only lost 48. And of these places that are leaving, so you have Tesla, we've talked about this before, Oracle, Hewlett Packard, Joe Rogan took his podcast and left, the Daily Wire left. We all know that. And where are they going? So that's also what the Hoover Institute looked at. They're like, okay, so they're leaving California. Where are they going? Well, here's where they're going. So whenever anyone wants to argue with you about what's better, a Democrat or Republican state, just talk about this. So where are these companies going? And a lot of these companies are probably very blue, probably a lot of liberal politics within the companies, more liberal people. But California has just made it impossible to do business there, like many other blue states that you're seeing. So where are the top 5 states that these business headquarters are going? Texas is number 1. Number 2 is Tennessee. Number 3 is Nevada. Number 4 is Florida. Number 5 is Arizona. So those are all red states. But another thing that I find encouraging about the numbers in California and New York is that both California and New York are experiencing these exoduses. How do you pluralize that? Lots of people also left California. So for the election to be that close is amazing. Yes, thank you, Mandy. That's the point that I was trying to make, because all these are probably people that are paying attention to the policies. So they're probably going to be more Republican minded people. Yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you for saying that. It is encouraging to see that even though all these Republicans are leaving these areas because they're actually paying attention to the policies, the races are still that close. So it shows you that things are going to change. It took us exoduses, I guess. I never thought about that before. So, um, now I lost my train of thought, man. Anyway, it gives me a lot of encouragement, given that a lot of it's probably mostly Republicans that have left these areas, and that the numbers are still that close. I think is very cool. Oh, that's what I was saying. It took us a long time to get here, and it's going to take longer than just one election cycle to get out. But Florida had the red wave. Yes, they did. Well, it's also, you had Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade went full on Ron DeSantis, and this is a very liberal area. Just like every other state, you have a lot of red states and then you have liberal cities. Miami is a very liberal city, but they're turning red. And I don't even think it's but that just goes to show, that's the power of strong leadership. Even if you're a Democrat, you're like, man, that hurricane, things went really well. During the shutdowns, things went really well. My pocketbook is looking nice. I feel safe in my state. Things are looking good. I'm going to keep going for this guy. And that was a huge win in Florida. So I also liked that Ron DeSantis. I don't know how many people saw this, but I thought it was really funny. Ron DeSantis, his press secretary, she did a jab. See, this is funny banter. This is what I like in politics. What I don't like is the angry bitterness and the purposefully slandering. But to me, this is fun. So Ron DeSantis, his Secretary of State, I believe her name is Christina. Can't remember her last name, but she tweeted out right after the election, kind of poking fun at Gavin Newsom, because they're now arch nemesises. Again, here we go with the pluralization. Um, Hello, old bag. Hi, Glenn. She tweeted out at Gavin Newsom, teasing him about the voter margin between him and Ron DeSantis, how Ron DeSantis got more votes, obviously adjusting for population, than Gavin Newsom did. So I thought that was really funny. And it was tongue in cheek. That's the kind of political banter that I like. What I don't like is the lies. The lies and the slander and the scandal. Trump needs to calm down and not attack DeSantis. He hasn't even announced it looks bad. I totally agree. And I said this before in the last live stream that I did. There's something really sus about every single, like all of these Republican pundits and commentators all of a sudden coming out at the same exact time, all saying that Trump is done and Trump is over. There's something super sus about that. It almost feels like an establishment media propaganda thing to me. But that being said, I can recognize that that looks a little sus and I don't like it. But I can also recognize that Trump is acting a fool right now. And it's not cute and funny right now. And I wish he would calm down. So I hope that he does. I'm not saying that I'm open to everyone. And I am a fan of both Ron DeSantis and Trump. But I can also recognize the faults in Trump. I think that They do not hide their coordination. Yeah, it just looked really bad. And these are the same people that cry about the corporate media all the time and cry about propaganda. Well, that looks like propaganda what you're doing when you're all saying the same talking points all at the same time and you flipped literally overnight. And these were also, you know what's kind of sus too about sorry Ben Shapiro, but I have to say it. And I like Ben Shapiro. I'm a fan of Ben Shapiro. But it again, it's kind of sus how the night before you're like, it's gonna be a red wave, or you're prepping up your audience for this to be, in his own words, a red shellacking. And then the very next day, without a beat, you're like, Trump is over. This was a disappointment. Because I really think if you were really paying attention, if you were really in touch with where our culture is at right now, where the political climate is at right now, I think you knew it probably wasn't going to be a wave. It should have been. It should have been, but we're not in the era. We're in Orwellian times right now, so it's going to take a lot more to have a red wave. I really do think. And I also, if you look at the demographics of voters, you had Gen Z turned out like crazy. And a lot of people are speculating that had a lot to do with the student loan forgiveness, which again, wow, right on cue, right? Right before the midterms, Biden's going to forgive loans of $10,000 up to $20,000 if you have a Pell Grant, Pell Grant, Pell loan. Yeah. Then what happens right after the midterms? A judge strikes it down. It's unconstitutional. Obviously, it's unconstitutional. You can't just pass something like that without going through legislation and without having people vote on it. You can't do that. Even the court that struck it down said, yeah, this was a total overreach. You can't just be a dictator with a pen and a piece of paper and do whatever you want. But I think they knew it was unconstitutional. I think they knew it wasn't going to go through. And it was just, to be honest, it was really mean. I have a friend who, she is studying psychology. Um she's it's I don't know, she's studying psychology in the criminal justice world, and she's getting her master's, and she does have a lot of student debt. She's a really nice person, like really, she works really hard, she studies really hard, she works her way through school, but she was thinking that she was going to get all of this help. She was literally thinking she was going to get this help and this relief from her loans, to only turn around and see, oh yeah, it's not going to happen. And in fact, it was never going to happen. And the people who told you this was going to happen, who wanted you to go out and vote for them because they have your back, they're the ones that basically duped you for a vote. And I think it sucks. And I think it's just wrong and evil and mean, you know? Right now, I don't think DeSantis has what it takes to take on the cesspool that is DC. It's going to take some time, as discussing. Yeah, Trump is the only option. I actually agree with that, and I've heard it's interesting. I was watching Jesse Waters, which I don't watch all the time. I just happened to see a Fox News clip with him talking about Trump and Ron DeSantis, and I think I agree with him. I love Ron DeSantis. I think he would make an excellent president, but I don't think it's his time. I personally think I would love to see him finish out his term of governor of Florida, and I think he would be very beneficial to Florida. I would like him to continue that, just let Trump run, and then maybe the next cycle, it's his term. But I would like to see him not do it quite yet. I don't think it's his time. And I think the longer he waits, the better, the more effective he'll be as a president. I think he would be more effective as the governor of Florida than as the president of the United States. That's how I feel. Oh, hi. Glad to see you live again. Much respect to my favorite woman on you. Oh, thank you so much. I'll be live a lot more now. Yeah, Democrats could have tried to pass something with student loans. They control the House, Senate, obviously the president with Brandon. Yeah, I do. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I do want to see Donald Trump just chill out for like 5 minutes. Just chill. It's one of the things that I love about Donald Trump, but it's also one of his biggest flaws. And isn't that how it is most of the time? Sometimes our greatest gifts are can turn into our greatest flaws if we don't keep them in check. Like I think Trump's bombastic attitude and sort of that thing that he has, I think it's probably helped him get to where he is, but it can also, if you don't keep it in check and if you don't keep it right, if you don't let your lion out at the wrong times, I think that he'll be just fine. $10K divided between 120 payments. $83 a month. If that breaks you, then you picked the wrong college level profession. I agree with that. And the thing is too, there's this idea, and it's really Democrat voters that they really have this idea that the student loan forgiveness would help lower income people. No, that's not the case. If you actually look at the numbers of who holds the majority of student loan debt in our country, it's higher earners. I think it's something like 80% of student loan debt is held by the top 40% of earners, and only, I think it's like, it's a small number of debt that's held by the lowest 20% of income earners. So, and that makes sense, right? Because the longer you go to college, the more expensive your education. Typically, that means the higher income you're going to be earning going out of college, and it's just unfair. And it's interesting because when you look at those numbers with Gen Z really coming out for the vote, and because I've talked to older Democrats, and they have the same sentiment when it comes to the student loan forgiveness. They say this is absolutely not fair. It's so not fair. And what about all the people that actually did pay off their student loans? Or what about the parents that there was one dad, he didn't go on vacations so that he could afford to pay his children's college in full? You know, they sacrificed a lot so that he could do the right thing and not go into debt and not see his children go into debt. Because we're told, growing up, you're told you have to have a college education. If you want to make anything of yourself, you need that 4-year degree. And it's just not true anymore. Is that true for some very specific professions where you need specific credentials? Absolutely. If you're going into one of those fields, you should go to college, but it's not for everyone. And what's really messed up is they made college a requirement for everything. I remember like looking at jobs when I was like really young, just like looking for random jobs, and you would see a receptionist position and they would require a 4-year degree. You don't need a 4-year degree to be a receptionist or an administrative assistant. And those types of jobs are now requiring 4-year degrees. To me, that's just mean and it's wrong. Are you building your base on other platforms? Rumble? Yeah, I am on Rumble. I'm on Rumble, I'm on Odyssey. So all my videos and my lives that upload to my YouTube, they automatically go on my Odyssey. I'm building my Instagram. It's a little bit, I'm trying to build everything just so if anything happens. So you can see me right there on Twitter and Instagram. And yes, if you go up to the top of my main YouTube page, you'll see a link to my Rumble, which I need to get better about linking my videos and uploading them, but I'm still there. If you want to, I'm still there. And if anything happens to the tubes, I will be there. I'm also on local, so I'm working on getting actually a subscription um, thing going with Rumble, so we can share some other things that you can't really talk about on the regular internet. You should be streaming there too. Yes, I do want to stream on not Rumble, on Locals. I really like On Locals. I do have a page on there. I have a few members, but I want to start streaming on there. It's kind of a smaller community too, so we can connect a little bit more. But once I get that organized, I will let you guys know so we can go on there. But it would be nice to. It's a little scary sometimes, just trying to navigate what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. And when you're a smaller creator, if you work for a larger, if it's something like the Daily Wire or it's something like the Rubin Report, where you have a team behind you, you have a team of people that sort of help you navigate the censorship so you can stay afloat on platforms like YouTube. But I don't have that. I just kind of have to figure it out myself. So that part's a little scary. And I don't want to leave YouTube because I don't think you should leave every platform completely behind. I think it's important to be where people that disagree with you are too. I think it's important to keep your message on those platforms too, even if you have to hold back a little bit, which sometimes you just have to do that. You got to play the game just a bit until you can be bigger in the game and make your own rules. That's what you have to do. That's what I used to say in the acting world. I'm like, yeah, sometimes you have to play the game a little bit because when you're an actor, you get your casting, and your casting might not be what you want to play. For instance, I had this really good friend, and she looked just like Katie Holmes. So she was the brunette girl next door, and she wanted to play Angelina Jolie type roles. And her acting coach was like, "You can't do that. You can't. That's not your casting. No one's going to cast you in that role. If you have a big name for yourself, you can start getting outside of your casting. But when you're up and coming in the game, in order to get roles and to get yourself out there, you have to sort of play by your casting." Other than the censorship, YouTube is the goat. Yeah, YouTube is kind of the goat. It's just a lot of censorship. So I think the smart thing is just to spread yourself out. That's why everything I have automatically uploads to Odyssey. I have myself on Rumble. I just need to be better about, you know. Actually, you want to know where my biggest following is? It's is on TikTok, which is really funny. My biggest following is on TikTok. And again, it's one of those platforms where a lot of Republicans, they'll kind of, well, a lot of Republicans now are starting to get smart, and they're getting on there a little bit. I know it's a terrible app for many different reasons, but it has such reach. Um, and a lot of people, they stick their nose up at stuff like that. But sometimes it's important to go where the masses are to expose your ideas to the masses. I know, ew, TikTok. I get it. I know, but it's strategy, man. Gotta win the war, not the battle. Yeah, TikTok. Actually, yes, TikTok is short videos, but now you can do 10-minute videos and you can live stream. And the cool thing about, well, the YouTube Shorts program is pretty similar now as well, but you make money per your views on TikTok. So I'll make a few bucks for each video that I post, and that's not ad revenue. That's just TikTok incentivizing you to make videos. So that's kind of nice. Odyssey does the same thing, although they pay you in cryptocurrency. I don't know how that's going right now. Style X, and I'm reading your comments, zombies, zombie, but I was getting a lot of them. Style Exton Hammer is a good guy for censorship. He's never been banned despite speaking truth. Oh, cool. Actually, I'm gonna write that down because that's good for me. That's sorry, I feel ignored. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ignore you. TikTok China. They actually they might ban TikTok soon. I'm hearing rumblings that TikTok might be banned in the US, but I don't know. Is there the GOP should get you to help with their messaging? They need help with messaging. Can a person make decent money on TikTok? Yeah, it's sort of the same thing. Well, you can make money. They have a lot of ways in which it's really easy for you to make money on YouTube. They have something called the Creator Marketplace where brands can reach out to you if they want to collaborate. I've had people email me. There's all kinds of ways to make money on TikTok for sure. And I think the thing that's really great about TikTok, it's just your reach is so incredible. It's hard to ignore that. I wrote down that name, Zombie, so I'm gonna check out his content because that it gets kind of scary sometimes. You don't want to have to leave before you really get started. I did not know money was able to be generated like that on TikTok. Oh yeah, lots of stuff. And it's sort of the same thing as YouTube, right? You can get people to sponsor your videos, or you can have like a product in your video. There's tons of ways to make money on there. Lots of oh, I'm sure. Sticks is very shrewd. I actually really like Owen Benjamin. I haven't has he just been banned from everything? I have not. Kevin C. See, Kevin found me on TikTok. I try to get my TikTok people to come to my YouTube every once in a while. I'll tell them to come over. See, Kevin found me on TikTok. You had a good reach on there. And I enjoy it. I think TikTok is cool. I just think, I think with every single medium, I mean, obviously there's things possibly with that app in China. Won't get into that right now. So I don't mean that aspect of it, but um, I think it's really cool. I think that anything, whether it's entertainment, a social media app, a cell phone, anything can be a great medium. It's just how you use it. I think anything and everything can turn into a vice. Food can be bad if you eat too much of it, you know? Even water, actually. Water can be very bad if you drink loads and loads and loads of water. I used to work in I didn't work, I interned in a psychiatric hospital for adults. And one of the things that comes along with like more extreme like psychosis is that people drink extreme amounts of water to the point where they'll drink like toilet water or bath water. The cactus in the back. The one next to it needs a new battery. I love those little cactuses. 9.99. I have a dancing cactus somewhere, but he doesn't have batteries. He needs new batteries. And last time I played him on the live stream, I got a copyright strike. Okay, I want to see updates if we know anything out of Arizona. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything else out of Arizona right now. So I'll keep updated. Oh, do they? I need to look at that because they're also that's awesome. And that's actually one of the things I really like about TikTok and even Instagram, their reels, you can use music and you don't get copyright strikes. I did see YouTube say something about being able to add music. I just haven't looked into that. I want to look into that. I love adding music to videos. And sometimes you can do it, you'll get the copyright thing, but as long as you don't monetize your video, you can still use it, but you can't monetize. So last I heard, Blake Masters hasn't conceded yet. He wants more of the votes counted. So he is not conceded yet. And now all of this information is coming out. This is insanity. Um Ellen banned you for life. No, speaking of cryptocurrency, this FTX, have you guys heard about what is happening? This is wild and it's almost appearing to be a money laundering scheme. I have no idea. But this huge cryptocurrency, FTX, I guess one of the largest. Here's what's happening. The shocking implosion. All right, well, let's go back to the beginning. Nope. Speaking of ads. So FTX filed for bankruptcy and announced the resignation of CEO Sam Bankman-Fried on Friday, making the stunning downfall for the 30-year-old billionaire seen as one of the cryptocurrency sector's most prominent figures. FTX.com, FTX's US operations, and Bankman-Fried's cryptocurrency trading from Alameda Research are among about 130 FTX group companies covered by bankruptcy filing. So this huge cryptocurrency, like huge, just completely crashed. And this kid, this Sam, the CEO of this cryptocurrency, is the second largest donor for the Democratic Party. So in 2022, I think I have the numbers. Oh no, it's on my phone. Okay. The 30-year-old Bankman Fried has been a major force in the Democratic politics, ranking as the party's second biggest individual donor in the 2021-22 election cycle, according to Open Secrets, with donations totaling $40 million. That ranks only behind George Soros, who donated $128 million, but ahead of many other big names, including Michael Bloomberg, $28.3 million. What's more, he had promised to spend far more on Democrats moving forward. So he spent this much in our previous election cycle, and he was essentially telling Democrats, I'm going to give you even more money for 2024. I think promising them up to almost $1 billion in donations. That is wild. And what's getting even crazier, this is coming out like basically as we're speaking, it's looking more and more like money laundering. Now Ukraine is involved. Hold on, so yeah, let me see if I can find it for you. No Daily Wire. I want to read. Well, never mind that. Ooh, wait. Okay, FTX. Here we go. I'm going to read you something on FTX because this is looking rather fishy. A true scandal is opening for the Biden administration. This is just speculation, people. Censorship gods, it's just speculation. We're just speculating. We're having fun. We're just talking. The DNC is so dirty. It's no wonder they're winning. Yeah. Okay. A true scandal is opening for the Biden administration. April 25th, 2019, Biden announces his presidential campaign. 13 days later, Sam Bankman Fried, son of Barbara Fried, Stanford, I don't know if I'm saying that last name right, Stanford professor and co founder of political fundraising organization Mind the Gap, launches FTX crypto exchange. The exchange is magically an overnight success. SBF becomes the biggest donor to Biden. Election day, FTX implodes completely. If you think the scandal is done, it goes even deeper. Speculating. Wait. Allegedly. If you say those words before you say anything, you're okay, right? Okay. Gabe Bankman Fried, brother of Sam, also a former Jane Street trader, is the founder of Guarding Against Pandemics. He was a legitimate correspondent for the U.S. House of Representatives and advisor to large political donors and Democratic Party. The family aunt Linda Fried is a WEF member on the Global Agenda Council on Aging. The father, Joseph Bankman, is a Stanford professor who has lobbied on behalf of hedge fund managers before Congress, before film records exist. FTX head of ventures and commercial at FTX Ventures, Amy Wu, started with the Clinton Foundation years ago. Nishad Singh, FTX director of engineering, has spent over $8 million for Democratic candidates. And finally, Obama's commodity futures trading commissioner, Mike Watchng, literally the head of FTX policy and regulation. Reports were the organization wanted to spend over $1 billion on the Democratic Party for 2024. A massive, allegedly, money laundering operation that had just been broken open. Not to mention, hold on. Oh my God, even more rabbit holes to get lost in for this week. I didn't find this. This found me. This is everywhere. You can't ignore it. Um, can I find this? This FTX story might be the biggest of our time. Here's a little more fun. The CEO of FTX had promised billions in donation to our ruling class Democrats after being their number 2 donor behind Soros. Then Ukraine invests tax dollars for war aid into FTX. So this is where it gets a little weird too. So um, Ukraine was giving money to FTX, and then FTX was giving money to Democrats, and then you see what's happening? See the circle of life just circling? Circles. So that'll be interesting. Again, it's one more thing. Okay, Carrie Lake is tweeting again. She says, send every person you know to carrielake.com/cure to check the status of your ballot. Everyone, make sure your voice is heard. So what happened? Sorry, I'm jumping. What happened in Arizona is that people were checking online and they were seeing that their ballot wasn't counted. So that's why she's telling people to go and check their ballot to make sure it's counted. Because you can actually go you can always go to the Secretary of State page. I actually did it when I voted in California because I didn't trust them. So I went to make sure my vote was counted. It was. Also, when I registered, I'm super paranoid. When I registered to vote in California, I registered as an independent, not a Republican. Crazy story. I didn't know this, but my stepdad, in the 2022 election, he was registering to vote. He had to re-register to vote. So he went to this little like stand somewhere. I don't know. It's probably at a grocery store or something. And he registered to vote. And the person, this wasn't 2020. This was 2016. I apologize. This was right before 2016. So he registered to vote. And the person that was registering for him was just like making small talk and said, "So, who are you voting for?" And he goes, "Oh, well, I think I'm going to vote for Trump." This is before 2016. So they register him at this little stand, and then he goes to his voting place, and his registration was gone. He couldn't vote, it was gone. So he legitimately thinks that that person just threw out his registration, whoever that was. And I wouldn't put it past them given how crazy people are. So don't ever tell people who you're voting for. It's none of their business. Nobody at a polling place, nobody that's registering you to vote, it's none of their business who you're voting for. I think, did you say the pornos? Oh, jeez. Speaking of Democrats, I was actually reading this morning because I've been following what's been happening on the border. And I've also been following what's happening in New York City because it's just rather fascinating to watch it just implode on itself, the policies in New York City. And I'm talking about like the sanctuary city policies, the right to shelter policies. Like you can't have these two things at once. It's just not working. And so the New York Post reported that costs that New York City will spend, it's going to be $600 million in a year to provide shelter, education, healthcare, and even legal aid to thousands of asylum seekers. So in the recent months, since since Texas has been busing asylum seekers, they've gotten 17,000 asylum seekers in New York City. They're expecting to get a lot more. They're also expecting that budget to increase a lot more as they continue to get asylum seekers bused to New York City. They also, so now they have people, their shelters are overrun. They're putting them in hotels. That huge tent that they made this giant tent with Xboxes. I don't know if you guys remember that. So it's on Randall Island. I believe that's where it was. They made this huge tent to house migrants. They had TVs, they had PlayStations, they had telephones, they had like a 24-hour, like some kind of catering service. Anywho, they're taking it down. I don't know exactly why, but they're taking it down, and instead they want the migrants to go to hotels and shelters. I don't know why they're taking it down. I don't know what happened with that. I was asked in a hotel parking lot to register to vote. They said they checked the Democrats. Oh, oh, they said check the Democrat box and we'll do the rest. I said I'm not a Democrat. Yeah, good for you. I just don't. I'm like it's none of your business. You don't need to know. I don't even know. Are they allowed to ask those questions? I have no idea. She drove away. Good. What? Well, I don't know. Did you guys see SNL over the weekend? Dave Chappelle's monologue. It was a really good monologue. It was probably one of the best monologues that I've seen. Some people were arguing that it might be the greatest monologue of all times. That's a big statement. I would have to do some researching to come to my own conclusion regarding that claim. I don't know if it was the greatest of all time. It was rather great. Um, he started out talking about Kanye. He then went into talk about Trump, and it's funny. You'll have to watch it. It is a felony. I didn't know that. You'll have to watch it yourself, but it's really good. And he completely understood why people were voting for Trump. And it's funny because he was saying he goes into Kanye. He talks about that for a little while. Then he talks about Trump. So Dave Chappelle actually lives in Ohio. I think he lives in a small town in Ohio, and he loves it. And this place where he lives in Ohio, obviously it's MAGA country. He's surrounded by Trump voters. And he talked about why people voted for Trump. And he was like, people don't understand why people love Trump so much. They're not going to just abandon him. And he said they love Trump because Trump is an honest liar. And he goes in to talk about the debate that he had with Hillary Clinton. I can't remember if it was in the primary or if it was the presidential debate. Maybe you can let me know on that. But he talks about, he goes, I live amongst poor white people in Ohio, and they still love Trump. They love him because he's an honest liar. And he goes, in that debate, Hillary Clinton he goes, the whole system is rigged. It's all rigged. And Hillary Clinton pointed something out about him. He's like, I know. Oh, he said, the whole system is rigged. It's all rigged. I know the system is rigged because I play the system. And Hillary Clinton tried to get him on his taxes. And she goes, well, you don't pay your taxes or whatever. And he goes, yeah, that's because I'm smart. And actually, none of your friends pay taxes either. And if you are really worried about changing, if you want to change the tax laws, then change the tax laws, but you won't do it because all of your friends benefit from the same tax laws that I benefit from. And he's right. And I think that's so refreshing for people to hear. And that's why people will not turn their back on him because he's honest in his ways. And people like that. It's refreshing. Not only that, he acknowledged these people that had been forgotten about, all those people in the flyover states, all the people that had manufacturing jobs, the coastal elites, the Republicans and Democrats ignored these people, turned their backs on these people, allowed their communities to become desolate, allowed them to become drug addicted with no good jobs or anything. They felt that they got their back. They felt that their politicians turned their backs. And then Trump came in. Not only was he honest, but he acknowledged them. And he had policies that helped them. But I love that. And it's true. This is what I tell people all the time. Whenever Democrats start joking about, we're going to tax corporations, like the rich people are going to pay, the rich are going to pay. You can make rich people know how to evade paying taxes. They will just put their money somewhere else. The working class did better under Trump than ever before. Exactly. And they are not going to forget that. They're not going to forget that. And especially right now with all of our inflation, with whatever the Biden administration is doing, they're definitely not going to forget that. So I remember that moment at the debate. Yeah, I don't know if Trump avoids taxes like and you know what? If you're smart, that's what you do. You make an LLC. You put there's tons of different ways that you can put your money in things where you're not taxed. And people do it. And it's honestly, it's not just rich people that do it. It's people that have a really smart business side of them, that are business savvy, that do it too. Exactly. And that's the point that Donald Trump was making. He goes, yeah, I take advantage of these loopholes because I'm smart. And if you wanted to change it, you would have, but you're not going to change it because you and all your friends benefit from the same loopholes. How refreshing is that to have someone say that instead of just lie? One of my favorite, somebody once said the thing about Trump, you know exactly what's on his mind. You might not always like it, but you know exactly what he's thinking. Whatever he's thinking comes out. Hillary Clinton, what she's thinking and her mouth, they never even had lunch together. Those are two different, you don't know what's going on. Same with all of them. Yes. Anywho, I think that's everything I have for you all today. Thank you so much for joining. I'll be live again tomorrow, but I'm going to be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. I'll announce it on the community tab. So I won't be live tomorrow during the day, but I will be live tomorrow at 8 p.m. It's possible I might release videos before then, but they're not going to be live streams. The live stream will be 8 p.m. tomorrow, Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday, so bring your tacos or your margaritas or whatever. Hopefully Carrie Lake is up by then. Yes, hopefully I'll do a little last refresh before we get off here, but I would really, really love to see someone like her a part of the Republican Party. Oh, okay.
Results out of Arizona. It was
Okay, here's the update.
I wanted to give you an update. This came in roughly an hour ago of the latest results out of Arizona. It was a small drop of votes, only a little over 3,000, but Carrie Lake got over 2,000 of that. So she actually gained some ground. And having said that, she's still behind by 24,772 votes. That's the latest number. And we're awaiting a larger drop, for instance.
Okay, so they are waiting for a larger drop. So Hobbs right now is 51% and Lake is at 49%. So of these drops, and this is what Carrie Lake was saying originally, where these drops are coming from and the types of voters these drops are coming from, she expects that the numbers are going to be largely in her favor. So we will see. And her reasoning for that is because a lot of these are Republican voters and they took their mail-in ballots on election day. They took their mail-in ballots and put them at the poll places themselves because they didn't trust the ballot boxes and things like that. So it's unbelievable how long it's taking. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you guys all. Tomorrow night I will be here at 8 p.m. Central. So please join if you want to. I might have videos before then, but I will for sure be live at 8 p.m. Eastern. Did I say Central? Eastern. I'll be live at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'm on the East Coast. A 5-year-old could count faster. Yeah. Can you count faster than a 5th grader? No. All right. Bye, everyone. I'll see you later. Thank you for joining. Bye.